Well, hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's doing good. How's everyone doing? Chat's a little bit quiet for the pre-stream. Say hello, people. Or call me a bitch, I don't know, but say something. How's everyone doing? Who's here? Let's say some hellos. Tub of Bleach, Sco6, hello. Did you hear about Too Mad? I did indeed. Not sure whether I want to go into that whole thing too much, because that's a wild little situation there. It's a wild situation. Does not sound like Too Mad was the nicest of people, but I don't know enough to go into too much about it, so very intriguing situation though. I went to see Madame Web and came out of the cinema, looked at my phone, and Twitter was exploding over it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Oh. literally went on my Discord and I was like, oh, Madame Web's actually not as bad as everyone's making it out to be, and then was like, wait, what happened? And scrolled up and was like, shit! So, that was intriguing. But yes, welcome everyone. We're doing a slightly shorter stream today. Hello to Kaius, hello War Hero. I'll be honest with you, I was sat here thinking, I don't know what to stream. And I'm enjoying streaming a bit more, but I was like, all I'm doing is playing Baldur's Gate at the minute. I'm not going to play that every stream I do. And then I completely forgot that I got my fucking emulator working, and there's a bunch of games on there I could have played today. So, clearly, I just had a fucking brain melt for a second and just forgot that I had loads of game options I'd already queued up, like Shadow the Hedgehog and Simpsons Hit and Run and shit like that. Just didn't end up doing them, because I'm a dope. But I will do some of those, probably next week it'll be, because I need to do the next Baldur's Gate 3 episode, which will probably be tomorrow. But today, I thought we'd do a little short stream chatting because, folks, any minute now, Xbox is going to be doing a announcement thing. I don't quite know how to describe it. But the idea is it's being heavily rumoured, / expected, / predicted, / whatever you want to call it, that Xbox are basically going to announce that they're almost entirely or fully or partially or whatever going to stop doing exclusive games to Xbox. They're going to put a lot of their exclusives out to other platforms and just shift the business as a whole, try and go more digital as well for some things from what I've heard. So, like, all these leaks came out last week, and instead of being like, oh, you know, we see all these leaks, they're not real, they're not true, don't worry about it, or they literally went, we see what you're saying, we've got an announcement next week, watch that. Which is basically their way of saying, yeah, this stuff's got legitimacy to it. And if that's the case, I don't know how I feel about it. There's a big discussion right now as to whether or not it's a good or a bad thing for Xbox to stop doing exclusives. I think it's only going to be a good thing if Sony follows suit, but I know in my heart of hearts that's never going to fucking happen. So, I think this is only going to be a bad idea in the long run, but I guess we'll see. We'll see. I'm not someone who's particularly bothered over the whole Xbox people bought an Xbox for those exclusives. That's a case-by-case basis. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position where I have both an Xbox and a PS5, so that doesn't bother me. But I realise it will bother a lot of other people. You know, you kind of make that choice, like, do I get an Xbox, things like Halo, Gears of War, Forza, or do I get a PlayStation for The Last of Us, Spider-Man, God of War, that kind of stuff. I mean, objectively speaking, for me personally, there's no context to get a PS5. But the only reason I got a Series X was because my friends are on Xbox. I've been on Xbox concurrently since the 360. It made sense to just evolve into each iteration of that console. So, like, the only PlayStation I had before the PS5 was the PS2. Which was, you know, probably one of the greatest video game consoles of all time, if not the greatest. But, yeah, now I've got both consoles. I can play whatever exclusive I want on whatever platform. I'm very lucky in that position, which means that my opinion is not quite as important as some other people's. But I'm really keen to see what they've got to say about this. Now, from what I'm aware, it's an episode of a podcast where they're going to be talking about this, and I don't think this is going to be live streamed. I think it's quite literally just going to be put up as a video. I wonder, is there like a link for the podcast in here where you can look? Yeah, the official Xbox podcast.
Games in this pack.
I'm guessing it's going to be in here, right? That would make sense. So that's what I'm figuring is going to happen. So as soon as it happens, we'll pop it on and we'll see. I think everybody's overreacting. I hope so. I hope it's nothing that deep. You know? But we will find out one way or another very soon, won't we? We will find out. I need to figure out how to change that Twitch bot extension, so the chat extension, so that it looks different on different scenes. Because right now, it's the same structure on every scene. Like, here it's fine. But over here, it's the exact same structure, and I don't know why. And I would very much like to fix that. I wonder if... What if I delete that? And then make a new browser source. chat reaction. Let's try this. Because surely if I do this... Can some people put some things in chat? Right. Oh dear. Oh dear. Made a new item and it's completely freaked out now. Oh, I know why. I pulled it out of that fucking widget. Oh, you idiot. You fucking moron. Put some more things in chat, please, folks. I think I've got it working now. Yeah, so there's the chat there. And there it is there. Okay, good. I was like, sat here thinking, shit, what have I done? Okay. So we'll put that down there. Lines up a little bit better now. Shrink that down. I might just... Can I make that... width 400, height 800, something like that. Will that do it? There we go. That's better. Cool. Alright, you thought your game was glitched. Are you playing Baldur's Gate 3 right now? Very nice. Very nice. You got good taste. Yeah, they released a new EP for it. Right, it should be out. Let's have a look. Yeah, 22 minutes. Alright. Let's give it a watch, folks. I'm intrigued. Yeah, my YouTube has been glitchy as shit recently.
Hello and welcome to the
so fucking slow, and I don't know why it is. Maybe I need to just clean my PC or something, but it's mainly YouTube where I'm noticing the problem and nowhere else. I wonder if there's any way to, like, fix the speed of it or something. There's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way, but whatever. Oh, the chat is on the wrong bit there. There we go. Fixed. Cool. All right.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on Game Pass. And we want to talk about hardware, too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people here from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy.
There you go then. So everyone was overreacting.
Decision for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
Isn't Sea of Thieves
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about...
Okay, not to be that guy. Does anyone know what the list of the 4 games is? Because let's face it, it's probably out there. I know Sea of Thieves was one that was very heavily talked about, so I'm assuming that's one of them. I think I'd heard a lot about Hi-Fi Rush. I swear Hi-Fi Rush was another one that was mentioned, if I'm not going crazy. Any others? Hi-Fi Rush one, yeah. Is the chat? Yes, the chat's fixed over there. I've just realised that the only problem with making the chat as short as I have is that you can't fucking see people's usernames. So let me amend that real quick. Let me amend that. There we go, that's better. I think being able to read your usernames might be slightly beneficial, don't you think, chat? There we go. Starfield coming to the consoles as a punishment more than anything. Is it a Starfield and Indiana Jones? I don't know if Starfield will. I'm not sure if Starfield will, because apparently that was walked back on by a couple of people. There was rumours about it, then that got walked back. But Indiana Jones is one that's been heavily rumoured. Starfield doesn't fucking need to go anywhere else.
The titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
Oh
They
shit.
are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well,
Oh,
what was
shit.
the criteria and how the team was thinking
So
about
both of them were
selecting those four
bullshit.
titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and I'll get to the 4 specific games.
Of course, I fucking paused it right before the question got answered. And to guys in the chat, the speculation is Sea of Thieves, Starfield, Indiana Jones, and Hi-Fi Rush. Well, I think Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush are probably 2, but the other 2, who knows? Who fucking knows?
Now.
It won't be Halo or Gears of
The
War. The
fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox.
You're saying that a lot.
A growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC,
I would like
multiple
that.
consoles, mobile console and PC.
If everyone does
big
it, it's
games
fine.
landing on multiple
But
platforms.
everyone has to chip in.
And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations
at this
of a
point, you may as well just
franchise
fucking say
that
what the
have
games
reached their
are,
full
Phil. For
potential,
fucking
let's say, on
fuck's
Xbox
sake,
and
man.
PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business. And
one of
great
them
for the
has to be Sea of
community.
Thieves out of
More
those
players to
2.
play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusive.
One of which is Hi-Fi Rush.
Fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business.
Has he got this all memorized in his head? It's quite impressive, I'll be honest.
To invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind.
Yeah, because if it's an Xbox exclusive game, they put it on another platform, they should get a cut, right?
You know, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this
Testing
concept
the
of
waters.
live service games,
Okay.
games that can benefit from bigger audiences, and you
I'm not going to keep pausing this constantly, but like the thing, as I said, this is only going to work if you want, like saying, oh, we want all games to be playable on all platforms. You can't have one side doing it and the others not. Nintendo is a different beast entirely, because Nintendo, like, they wouldn't put flowers in their own garden. They'll just have a fence there and be like, oh, that's it, job done. We don't need anything else there. We don't want anyone to touch it. We don't need anything to make it better. We're just here. We're happy. Like, there's nothing there. I made that phrase up and it kind of works. It kind of doesn't. Whereas Sony and Xbox, there's more overlap there because they're a similar kind of platform, right? So if one of them says we want to put games over on the other platform, if they wanted to put them all over, you'd need it to work both ways, because if Xbox went, we're putting all our exclusives on PS5, but Sony went, we're not doing that, then that just fucks Xbox over. I think if you're going to stop making exclusives on a particular platform, you need to make it across both for PC and for PS5 and Xbox. Because then you won't get anyone feeling super stung of, I bought this particular console for these games, because everyone can play everything everywhere. It's not like, oh, Xbox players, their games are solely on PS5. They feel like they've bought the wrong console because PS5 now has Xbox games and their own exclusives. Both platforms would have games from each other. and that would be fine. I honestly think that would be a good idea. And I hope that he's right in the idea that in 5 to 10 years it'll be more like that. But I don't know if it will be. This fucking guy is about to release an Xbox that's going to be all digital. Isn't that the next rumor? That their mid generation console is going to be fully digital, no disc option? Fuck that. Like, fuck that. I buy a lot of digital games. I'm not going to dance around that. It is easy. It's easier to work with them, fine. But, like, I just love physical media. I have a fucking vinyl collection, and I don't even have a functioning record player in my room at the minute. I like collecting physical things, and I know I'm not the only person like that. So, I think there's probably other things, and they will probably get to that, because I'm imagining first-party games, Game Pass, Activision Blizzard. Oh, okay. Multi-platform availability. As Xbox is keep with the industry, gaming communities, Xbox hardware. We don't need to listen to all of this, but let's keep listening for now.
How does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Game Pass is the big thing, Pat Booty.
What Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years, where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points
and
for
PC.
us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player.
So to me it feels like, the thing I find really intriguing about this is I wonder if this is Xbox trying to, like, reach out a hand to Sony to be like, hey, we're giving you a couple of games here. Do you want to do the same? We scratch your back, you scratch ours? Because they're very much describing this as if, we're keeping the door open for the future to maybe put more over. We're not promising anything. And I feel like if they put a few games over and there's no real effort from Sony to do the same back, which, let's face it, probably won't be, then Xbox will probably just go, fuck this, we won't do it again. But if Sony start to go, we'll give you a couple more over here, it might start this fucking snowball effect where we do end up getting everything on every platform. Because the thing is, from a logistics standpoint, Sony are much bigger than Microsoft console-wise at the minute, and they still are saying, the PS5 undersold expectations. Well, probably because it was a fucking pandemic and it was dead hard to get hold of consoles for about 2 years, but that's beside the point. But I honestly feel like there is a universe where you could have all these games on every platform, or at least the relevant platforms, and because the games are still subsidiaries of the original company, like The Last of Us, Naughty Dog is still a Sony studio. Doesn't matter if you were to buy, say, that game on an Xbox or a PC, Sony is still getting a big fat cut out of it. You could make it work. You could make it work, even if Sony were money hungry. I mean, from what I've heard, it's slightly different, but isn't the Spider-Man agreement between Sony and the MCU, isn't it something like Spider-Man can be in the MCU, but Sony gets like 90% of the cut, the profit or something? I swear it's something wild like that. So, like, even if that was the case, I'd still love to see a universe where all those games get to be on every platform. But until everyone decides to chip in, it won't happen. And I think this is Xbox trying to be like, hey, we'll start this off. Up to you if you want to carry it on. But if you carry it on, we could really do something here. That's what this is screaming like to me. But they can't obviously say that. So either I'm misinterpreting or I'm bagging the money. Intrigued to know what everyone thinks in the chat, though. Microsoft probably never going to recover from the Xbox One advertising. Yeah, the Xbox One was a dark time for Xbox. I just bought it again because it was the logical level up for me from the 360. Just to go to the next, like the same console generation. I had friends going between one and the other, and I was like, makes no sense for me to buy a PS4. Like, objectively speaking, out of the two consoles, if we're doing the console wars, PS is much better. Just right off the bat. Just for game content-wise, the exclusives they got on offer, PlayStation wins. But for me, I'd been playing on Xbox for all this time, and because of my friends, etc., I've stuck with it, and I don't mind. And again, now, I'm in a very fortunate position where I have both consoles anyway. So, not everyone's in that position. So, it's intriguing to hear them talk about
cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your play are going to be able to move across all those parts.
Yeah.
So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save.
So, for example, cross-play, cross-save could be in CFDs, but not Hi-Fi Raw.
Something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision and Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th.
Oh,
shit. Super excited to share today.
Oh, wow.
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox,
and now the dominoes
Xbox
start to fall.
And the games that we build as widely available as possible.
Well, we know
so
the big question is next. When's
happening
for Call of Duty?
Can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going.
Shut up, YouTube alerts.
If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first-party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's...
Okay, chat, genuine question. Regardless of whatever platform you're on, do you give a shit about playing console games? So let's just talk Xbox and PS specifically. Do you give a shit about playing those games on a phone or away from home or whatever it might be? How much do you... Yeah, I know, it's tell me why. Fucking guess it at my Wheaties. Do you actually care? I know there's a market for it, but I'm intrigued for my audience. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't give a fucking shit. If I'm on holiday in another country, I'm on a holiday. I'm not going to play video games. If I'm out going shopping, I can fucking wait to come home to play Baldur's Gate 3. You know what I mean? The only example I had recently, there's one time, folks, that I used Xbox Play Anywhere. A couple of months ago, I went to visit family, and we were staying for a few days, and I brought my Xbox with me, plugged it into the TV in one of the rooms, and then they wanted to watch TV on, like actual terrestrial TV on that same screen. So I kept the Xbox plugged in and used Play Anywhere to connect it to my laptop and play it on there. So it was like it was still plugged into the TV while they were watching like fucking Emmerdale or some shit. That is the only time I have ever used Xbox Play Anywhere, and I would bet money it's going to be the only time I use it for a while to come. For me, I just don't give a shit. So this strategy, I don't give a fuck. I'm just being real with you. I don't care.
Content community cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different
strategies. And also from an energy and hazard perspective, you need to have your Xbox plugged in and turned on if you're somewhere out of the house. I'm terrified of like electrical hazards.
Is a platform for creators who want to reach
the
the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and
That's fair
popular
then. That's
as
the
they
same thing, so
possibly
fair
could
enough.
be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and
He's a
learning
businessman,
from
maybe
you
he knows
three,
more than I do.
over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality.
Consoles.
And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building.
Yeah, it feels like
great
Xbox is
games
pushing
that
more of the
millions and
publishing
millions of
angle,
people can
for
love,
sure.
and that they can
Which
play
makes
those
sense.
games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business.
You love saying creator
So when we
community,
look
doesn't
at
it?
opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed.
It definitely was.
But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD
Yeah, because Monster Man's just saying, like, a company actually talking about their layoffs. The thing is, with Xbox, if you were to ask me to pick one of them that made more sense than the others, I would say Xbox, because when you bring you combine Xbox with Activision staff, there's bound to be overlaps. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't ways they could have moved those staff around and put them in other jobs. I definitely think there was. But out of all the layoffs, that's the one where I'm like, oh, maybe, I guess, as a business perspective. I don't like any of them, realistically. But at least they didn't do what fucking Embracer did, which I don't know if you saw this earlier. Apparently Embracer just went on the record and went, oh yeah, we laid off 1,400 people just to make sure the shareholders were okay. Which, in business speak, is the thing you're not meant to publicly fucking say. Everyone knows that's why you're doing it, but you're not meant to say it. And then Embracer just went, yeah, we're just lining the shareholders' pockets, man. So at least they're not fucking saying that on air. At least, to me, when that news broke, it felt like they were doing it because they wanted to try and kind of streamline the business because they just acquired a whole ass fucking company. Not saying they could have done it better. They definitely could have done, no doubt about it. I mean, we've lost 1,600 jobs in the last 13 months in the gaming industry. It's insanity. It's absolutely insanity. Embracer really said, let's just say it moved me to a bigger house. Yeah, exactly. So, and to answer Sco's 6th question, I do own other hats. You can see them stacked. There's a Clementine one there, and there's loads under it. It's just that the N7 one's become such a regular trademark of mine that I just always wear it. I wear it when I'm teaching as well now on my own tutoring. I just always wear it.
She'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators.
I really like that.
So those people are finding success on our platform.
Focus on bringing new people in and not just fucking milking the people already there dry.
To be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large.
I know I haven't downloaded Destiny 2
comparable
again yet,
on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then
that was my big
equally
decision.
important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think.
Do you know what? That is also a really good point because, like, for me, just because I bought a PS5, I'm not playing tons of games on it. I bought it for the exclusives. Like, Xbox is where I have the majority of my games. So whenever a new game comes out, if it's on multiple platforms, I will get it on Xbox. That is a very interesting point, and it's a very true one. I think sometimes that you don't even think about. It is.
Those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success?
Sorry, it just does.
I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. You know, Power World was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success. And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had like 5 million players in 3 days, so that's not a hard thing to say.
Subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC.
So, do you know what I'm intrigued by? Now she's mentioned Power World. I wonder how Xbox's cut of that works. Like, as a business, do they get more money if more people download the game on Game Pass? Because I'm trying to think financially from that perspective. You know, Xbox pay a certain fee. I'm assuming. I don't even actually know how it works. Xbox pay the fee, developers pay the fee. I would imagine Xbox pays the fee, right? Like, they've got to be the ones to pay the fee. What do Xbox get out of it? I'm actually intrigued by that. How does that work with the third-party games? If someone smarter than me, I'd love someone to clarify that because it's actually one area that I'm wondering about.
Access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud
yeah, of course.
ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for
But didn't
creators,
they also recently
for
say
the
the
games
Game
and
Pass
those
was
communities.
stagnating
What
and not
about
really
the role
growing?
that hardware plays for us
swear
as
they
a
said
business
that.
for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil
Here we
said
go.
this
Is this the
earlier,
hardware? Yeah.
it's where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday, and we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators.
Isn't that what they said with the Series X?
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud and the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. Slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the
that was one of the big
auditorium as we were saying that, and
Xbox
online.
One. And there weren't many,
one of the
that was
cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows. And how Windows over decades has
keep the air
maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're gonna support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices. Which
Monster Man, I mean, let's be fair, he was only talking about Minesweeper when he was like, I play games for the last few decades. Isn't the Series X already severely outdated in comparison to PC? I think that's a danger with consoles in general, right? Because the consoles, when they launch, for the next half a dozen or more years, they're going to be running to that same spec, besides like a mid-generation refresh they might do occasionally. And the thing is, PC gaming is constantly evolving. Parts are constantly getting better, higher specs, higher tech. So it's always an issue, a grappling issue. And I think if you want the best performing games you'll ever see, by and large, you want a gaming PC. But consoles are normally, the idea is they're meant to run games fairly well, much cheaper. Is Troy's video frozen? I still hear audio, but it's frozen on my screen. Looks all right on my end. Let me double check on Twitch. Let me just look real quick. Yeah, no, it's all good on my end, Kaius. Refresh your stream. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, so like it's a natural thing with consoles. They balance having, you know, a functioning console that can run all these games, and also, you know, trying not to be so underperforming compared to PC. There's a bit of a balancing act to be had there. So I think it's definitely true that spec-wise, consoles are weaker than PC. But I think that's always been the case, and I don't think it will ever not be the case. But they're powerful enough that the casual gamer like myself, who wants to just have a console and play other games on, can play them happily. And I think it's, if anything, it's been more true for Series X than anything else, with some of the ways that it's lined up with, you know, refresh rates and higher resolutions, things like that. I think it's worked really well with this generation in particular.
I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get
Last
to
of Us and
access
Spider-Man
Game
might
Pass.
disagree.
And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud
backwards
gaming.
compatibility, make Sonic 06 backwards compatible, you cowards.
Investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are.
Did they make Sonic 06 back compatible?
And I think most
I don't
importantly,
think they did.
Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even
Every
better
time I see creators, I'm like, are you thinking developers or YouTubers?
Yeah,
I think they mean YouTubers,
that
right? 'Cause they've said
investment in the
developers
studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry.
Take a shot every time they mention
What does
creators.
that mean for players?
That's nearly as wild of a
It
drinking
means
game
that the
as
biggest
that,
games
as
are
the
gonna
one I came up with
continue to
saying,
come
oh, every
to
time you
Xbox.
watch Game Awards,
And,
take a
this
shot every time Jeff
2024,
Keighley
the
says,
year coming up,
oh,
we've got
we talked about
more
this game
than
before. I
10
played
major
this, but
releases
privately.
coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got
Yeah, here we go.
Diablo
We're just going into all the big
expansion.
announcements.
We've got
Anything new?
Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game, and there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all
I
for
miss
showing
E3,
up on the
man.
podcast
I
today,
miss
and
E3.
we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tina.
thank you.
Well, there you go. So that was a whole lot of nothing. Fair enough. So it's them. Right, do you know what the biggest takeaway from me there was? Surprisingly, Diablo 4 being on Game Pass, because that is the beginning of what will no doubt be a big shift of Activision games onto Game Pass. Like that, and that's what interests me the most, because I swear I've read stuff that Call of Duty can't happen just yet, but once that happens and you get COD games on Game Pass, that's going to change things a lot. I'm very, very excited to see how that goes. But yeah, so realistically, they responded to all the rumors by being like, oh, watch our showcase, blah, 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 blah. They made it sound like it was really this big Jurassic thing. They were like, guys, we're sorry, we can't touch this. You could have just tweeted out, the rumors are rubbish. We're going to port a few games over, but we'll talk more about it in the update. You didn't need to have everyone waiting, hanging on the edge of their seats for that. You could have given everyone the buzzword and then been like, you want more, watch the podcast. But whatever. Very intriguing business decisions there from Xbox. Very intriguing business decisions. But ladies and gentlemen, there we go. That's everything we need to know about the Xbox conference. It's not even a conference, you know? No one watched the podcast. Oh, actually, do you know what? Let's test that theory. How many views do podcast episodes typically get on Xbox? Let's see. Oh wow, that's already got 119,000 views. Yeah, okay. So the last one was about 14 days ago, I think it said. Looking for podcast. Yeah, there it is. 13,000 views. Oh, okay. Okay. I think I know what you mean now. 13,000. Oh, is 13,000 a typical number for these? It seems like it might be. Oh, that's 161. Oh, that's Avowed extended gameplay. So yeah, they like to push the people over every now and again. Play Hello Kitty. No, not today. Baldur's Gate 3 jump scare. I have got a bunch of games. Let me pop them over on this window, but not tonight because I'm going to be recording some Who's There later. But here are the games that I have on my emulator currently that we can get working. I've only got one set up that I actually own myself because I don't want to be, big naughty criminal gamer. I was like, let's only emulate things I actually have copies of. So these are what I've got so far. But yeah. So we could play some of these. Load up Shadow just for the intro. No. The only reason I'm not going to do that is so that you make sure you do watch when we stream Shadow. And honestly, I think I might do that next week because I said I was going to. The only thing that I'm wondering about with that is, should I play Sonic Adventure 2 first? Because for some reason, I haven't played Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Adventure 2 properly ever. It kind of skipped past me. I don't know why. So, should I play that first? I don't know. But I don't know if people would watch it, so who knows. Here that Roller Rescue is a game is fire, especially if you turn the music off and play Sonic Frontiers music over the bosses. Very true. I have heard that a streamer did that recently, and you could maybe check it out on his channel for VODs, I think it's called. Oh, there it is. Wow, what a link. What a strange link. And yeah, Barnyard. Barnyard was peak, man. Barnacle Heroes, though. That I don't know if that would do well, but fuck, I want to play that. I really want to stream that game. That was like peak. Like, people go, oh, Lego Star Wars was peak Lego. No, Barnacle Heroes was a fucking peak Lego game. So bloody good. So good. So, who knows? And then SpongeBob SquarePants Lights Camera Pants. That's just SpongeBob Mario Party. That is literally just Mario Party but SpongeBob. And it's fucking peak. It's peak. So we'll play some of these options very, very soon. Lego Pirates is good. Never properly played that one aside from on the DS. So I missed out on that one, I'll be honest with you. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for hanging out. Only a very short stream. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Had I actually clocked in my brain that I had other people to, other games to stream, then I might have, I might have actually picked something that I could stream, but I didn't because I'm an absolute doofus. So tomorrow we will do another episode of our Baldur's Gate 3 weekly series, and then after that we will do some more games next week. We will just hit up some other stuff and we'll go from there. So we're going to raid one of my friends, Smixie, who's playing Warzone, so we'll drop in on her. Honestly, I've been watching her streams a little bit more recently. It's making me want to give Warzone another shot, but I don't know if I can motivate myself to do that, so maybe I will at some point. We'll see. But yeah, thank you all very much for hanging out. I will see you all next week. Not next week, tomorrow for Baldur's Gate 3 Part 6, I think it is now, as we carry on Ava's story for a couple of hours. So thank you all for hanging out. Much love, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Bye!